welcome or welcome back to the Citizen channel. I hope you're all staying safe and well. And yeah, a new feature. This is a new one. We do City at the Movies, as you know, where look at certain things. Obviously, there's a limit to how many movies we can get out of City, but there's still 2 or 3 for me to look at, to be honest with you, as I'm recording this. But yeah, we're doing a City at the Movies City Plus special. So these are the things that appear on City Plus or on the City site that are well worth a watch, documentaries and special features on players. So in this series, we're going to take a look at these films or documentaries on the City Plus channel. And I'm going to share any personal thoughts I've got as well at the time, any memories I've got as well, and add some little bits to it as well. But just a little review of these documentaries, which are generally very, very good. I mean, I'm not going to rate these things at all, but they're generally very, very good. And today we're going to look at a documentary, that's entitled, and you probably know what it's about when you hear the title. It's called York Away. So we're going to have a look at that today. Please, the channel's now monetized. If you can watch any of the ads or follow any of the links or visit the advertisers, it'd be great. It just helps financially the channel moving forward. It allows me to do a little bit more in the future. Well, more. I'll be pressed to do a little bit more. I never stop, but that would certainly help me out, guys. And of course, my other channel, my film and TV channel as well, if you can check over on that. All thumbs ups are great, guys. Give us that thumbs up. Follow Pep's example there in the corner. Give us that thumbs up. That'll be wonderful. And of course, press that notification button. Tell your friends about the channel. Let's get it growing even more than it is already. That'd be great if you could do that. And thank you for your support. Yes, so we're going to look at City at the Movies, City Plus special on York Away. Yeah, just over 14 minutes, so it's not long. Just a nice, easy watch. It's great to watch, especially whether you're a young fan or an old fan and you live through it. It's great to watch these things. It's a game, of course, that all City fans claim to be at. Well, I wasn't. I didn't go to any away games that season, just work commitments, etc. But obviously, I went. I think I went to pretty much all the home games. But yes, it was officially after this game, and this is without doubt. There's no doubt about it. The lowest point, and people have said it, but there's no. The facts are there, guys. The lowest point in the history of Manchester City, a very rich history, as you know. But things would get better after this, but this was sort of when we were at our lowest ebb. So we go back to December the 19th, just over a week before Christmas, 1998. And Boothen Crescent, we'll have a quick chat on that later on. Sadly, no longer with us, and it's, guys, what a great old ground. The 7,527 fans were crammed in for this game. 4 days early, I'd been at this game. We just beat the mighty Darlington, in an FA Cup round 2. Yes, round 2. We had to play in the first round and second round for the first time in, it's a gazillions of years. We had to do it in the old days, of course, when the FA Cup first started, but it was a bit how low had we come? We had to actually play in rounds 1 and 2, and yes, we'd actually beaten the mighty Darlington 1-0 in front of 8,500 fans at Main Road, and there was about 1,100 Darlington fans, so I was in the 7,500 City fans there. I'd be proud to say, me and my lad. Main Road, a 1-0 win thanks to a goal from Mr. Brown. Scored the goal of the game in that one, but that was only 4 days earlier. So of course the City Plus feature would include the game after that and feature on the game after that, where, as I said, many fans claim to be there. I certainly wasn't. I'm not going to make any claims that are. But fans who were there, who comment on this documentary, are Spike Meadowcroft, if you know Spike, Mark McCarthy, we know Mark, of course, friend of the channel and obviously a friend through Twitter, etc. And plus fan and journalist, of course, the wonderful Natalie Pike, who were all there. So they say, but we'll believe him. City... the Plus feature also includes a little comments from a fan of those as well, a fan of Steve Saxton, a fan of York City, so he's also included. I don't know how famous he is or how known he is. And we have players' contributions of guys who were there, of course, Andy Morrison, Kevin Orlock, Sean Goulter. And ladies team manager, as I'm recording this, Gareth Taylor. So we get little comments on them throughout this documentary as well. And despite all our lows, guys, I thought we always looked great in that Kappa laser blue kit, didn't we? Let's be honest about it. I did have that kit, but it's like the away one, like the away high-vis one, it's got lost in moves over the years. I'm pretty gutted, to be honest with it. I don't still have have one of those, and the kids' ones as well, because the kids all had them, and they've all gone missing somewhere in house moves, etc. Fan Mark commented, every club we went to that season would become Brazil for the day. They certainly would. There's no doubt about that. I mean, ordinary players for these, third tier of English football would look seasoned internationals when they played City. I mean, every goalkeeper would turn into the proverbial cat when they played against us. Some great, they had the best games. And obviously, we'll talk about a young lad who scored for York in a moment, and that just about sums up the way that happened. Andy Morrison said that everywhere we went, it would be a bit of a circus. Not always in a good way. Sometimes in a good way, but not always in a good way. Plenty of backing, of course. Lots of City fans at these away grounds. And there's some great shots as we watch a documentary of York's home ground, Bootham Crescent. A bit run down. It certainly was more run down a year ago when it was obviously closed up as they moved to the new stadium. Well, some great images and some great memories of the York's ground for people who've been there, and I never got to visit it. And sadly, obviously, people like myself who never got there. In the 7,500 crowd that day, estimates of at least half were Blues, if not more, perhaps up to 4,500 Blues were in attendance that day. And Natalie Pike herself said that she would go into the home ends. It was obviously hard to get tickets for the away bits. She would actually end up in more home ends that season as she went to watch City around the country. In the game, we talked about the game. We see the goals on the documentary. We fell behind very early on to a former Stockport County player who scored the opening goal. But thankfully, Craig Russell, equalised. Was it a cross or was it a shot? Who knows? But it was a fantastic goal. And obviously, he beat Bobby Mims. Bobby Mims, who's in goal for York City, who, of course, played 3 times for City. I think it was 3 times back 11 years previously on loan, when we sort of had a plethora of goalkeepers playing for us in that late 80s time. So he was in goal for York, and obviously, Craig Russell beat him from distance, a cracking goal. And as the game wore on, City fan Mark did comment that he thought a goal was coming, but not for us. We seemed to sort of run out of ideas, and yes, it looks as though it might come for York, and it did. It certainly did in the 87th minute, so not a lot of time to recover, was there, from that. An 87th minute, not enough time for a deflated City to fight back even then. And the York player, this is what I was saying earlier about these average players looking seasoned internationals. The York player was called Andrew Dawson. He was actually a York lad, and he'd just come on for his debut, and this was his first touch of the game as he curled it left-footed into the far corner of the goal. And yes, after that, he didn't play much more for York, and he didn't have a great career, he had a short career with York. I had a quick look on the internet to see if I can see him. I can't really see much on him with a brief look, but that just about sums up what we're saying about average players all of a sudden turning into seasoned internationals when they played against City, because he didn't really do much after that, Mr. Dawson. And of course, after the game, as the tens of thousands of Man City fans trudged home, according to everyone who was there, we sat at our lowest, didn't we? Obviously, we sat at our lowest ever league position of 12th. After, let's face it, this was an embarrassment. There's no other word for it. But in this context of the season, it was not unexpected as fans. We sort of thrived on it a little bit, and we perhaps still thrive on it now. And people look back, don't we? We sort of thrived on that mediocrity and being rubbish, and it was a talking point for us all, and it's something that brought out the dark comedy, didn't it? The dark comedy that we always talk about. And yes, there's a little feature on the documentary. We went to Wrexham and won 1-0 there with a Vikings header from a corner. And that was more or less a turning point. I personally, obviously, I was at the next game, which was on the 28th of December against Stoke City at Main Road after Christmas. I thought the big turning point was in that game where all of a sudden the City, I think a tackle went in. I can't remember what minute of the game it was or anything specific, but there's just something happened on the pitch where it just turned a switch. And obviously, we'd beat Wrexham. We struggled to beat Wrexham, but this is just a turning. I mean, it wasn't a fantastic game against Stoke City, but something changed with the fans who had enjoyed it. Don't get me wrong, enjoyed it, but we suddenly thought this is possible, and something switched in that game. It may have been a tackle or something happened, and all of a sudden the fans were up for it, and you just sense the players were up for it. And of course, the rest of that season is locked in City folklore, of course, and the documentary briefly covers this little upturn in form, change of City's fortunes with footage, etc. We even get a shot of another friend of me and the channel, the Ginger Wig. We even get a shot of him on the pitch at Main Road. I think it was after the Wigan game. I'm not too sure if I'm wrong with that, but obviously as we make our way on the path to Wembley glory, of course. As Natalie Pike summed up, she said, "York away, a real reminder of how far we had come as a club." And I think as fans, we wouldn't swap it for the world, would we? Who wouldn't swap it? Those who lived through it, that wouldn't swap that game, wouldn't swap that period of City's history for anything. To be honest with you, we'd put it up there alongside with all the glories we've had recently, of course. York City, well, they did get relegated that season, as the fan told us in this documentary, and they're currently playing the 6th tier of English football in the National League North. Not doing so well as I'm recording this, to be honest with you. They're in the bottom half of the table, and they're playing a now spanking new stadium, about 8,500 capacity stadium. But Old Bootham Crescent, of course, is I think it's gone now. I was looking back at reports in October 2021. Before they were going to build houses on it, they were looking for caskets. They were looking for small caskets under the pitch. I think up to 15 fans had the ashes put in caskets buried under the pitch. So they were trying to get them to relocate them, obviously, which very, very strange. And I don't know if they found them all in the end. I think they found half of them when this newspaper report was put out in October last year. So October 21, I'm recording this in February 22. So they had found half of the caskets, but there you go. That's just an interesting point, just as an aside. But that's it. Yeah, the final word on the documentary went to Mr. Paul Dickoff, who never really got a mention in this, did he? He got a mention in obviously when we see the Wembley thing at the end of this documentary. But obviously, a little mention, his comment at the end when he's being interviewed about something else. I think he get asked about this. He said, I won't do the Scottish accent. "Obviously, it wasn't the best day," he said. "I was suspended, so it was nothing to do with me." So there you go. That's fair enough. We can't argue with that as he walks off camera with a little grin on his face, which a good point made. There's nothing wrong with that. So let me know if you were one of those 40,000 or so City fans who were in the 7,500 crowd at Bootham Crescent. Let me know your personal memories of that day and anything special you remember. As I say, you get the fans on this documentary remembering their memories. But anything you can share with me, that'll be absolutely brilliant. And it's a great watch, as I said, a great watch for City fans, young and old, doesn't matter the age. Some great memory buttons pushed, of course, for us guys who went through it all, and those guys that were there, no doubt, or supposedly there. So don't miss it. Yeah, give it a watch. I mean, it's all right. It is a subscription. You can't get this on the normal City site, but it's great value for money. If you're going to get little documentaries like this, and I will be covering quite a few over the coming months and who knows years, if we're still here, or I'm still here. I'm sure we're not really here, but we will be. So I'm going to have a look at quite a few over the coming months in this special City at the Movies special, the City Plus special, where we had a look at York away today, which is on that channel. So as I say, even if you take a trial and just watch a few documentaries till your trial runs out, it's well worth a watch. Anyway, thanks for watching. What we're going to do with this day, have a great one. Look after yourselves, look after your friends, look after your families. More importantly, let's all look after each other. Till we meet each other here again on the Citizen channel. I only ask one thing, don't I? Please stay safe, Blues. Come on, City. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.